guys, and welcome back to Belle's Library. I'm Heather, and today we are going to talk about the fact that I read 8 graphic novels. So, like a month ago, I went to my library and I was like, I just really want to try out some more graphic novels. Something that I just enjoy the idea of, but I haven't really figured out what I actually enjoy in graphic novels. Still kind of working on it, but I figured like I could show you the 8 graphic novels that I picked up and we could talk about them and what they're about, and I could do a whole video on this, right? Right. So I picked up a whole bunch of graphic novels to kind of explore. So in this video, I figured I could give you guys a quick review of the graphic novel, what it's about, what I thought of it. So I figured that I could rate it on a couple different things. One being enjoyment. So my just enjoyment overall of the plot, the characters, just whatever's going on in this graphic novel. And the second being the art style and what I kind of felt about the art style, if I enjoyed it. And we're going to rate both of these things out of 10 each. And then we'll add those two numbers together and kind of get a ranking from there. So I'll have a ranking of enjoyment, a ranking for art style, and a ranking of the two together, and we'll kind of check that out and see kind of what graphic novels I feel are worth it. This is definitely, in my own opinion and my own journey, what I'm kind of thinking as far as these graphic novels go. So before we get started into talking about the first graphic novel, if you guys would get down below and hit subscribe, I would really appreciate it, and I would love to have you join my little family here on BookTube. So get down there, hit like, hit subscribe. If you want to check out my Instagram and Goodreads, it is also linked down below for you guys as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the first graphic novel that I have here, and that is Angel City, Town Without Pity. So this one is written by Janet Harvey and illustrated by Megan Levins. It is colored by Nick Filardi, and the lettering is by Crank. So we've got quite a bit of people that have gone into making this graphic novel. Now, Angel City is about Dolores Dare, and she is a previous Hollywood hopeful and current enforcer for the Volante mob. Basically, she came to Hollywood and she's like, I want to be an actress and I want to make it big, and didn't end up happening. And so now she's found that she's really good at enforcing things for the mob, and so she's kind of become their #1 enforcer. So when her best friend turns up dead in a dumpster behind the Chinese theater, Dolores starts her own investigation of the April Fool's killer. As she gets closer to the truth, Dolores will go up against the studios, the corrupt homicide division, and even her own gangland contacts, and uncover a scandal that shakes the very foundations of Tinseltown. Now, for me, I actually picked this one up because I just found the cover to be really intriguing. I thought the art style was going to be something that I enjoyed, and I just loved the overall Hollywood vibes going on here, and I thought it would be an interesting graphic novel. Now, having read it, was not my favorite. I was getting so confused and lost in the story. This actually ended up taking me over a week to finish this graphic novel, which to me, like, I usually finish a graphic novel in one sitting, maybe 2. I was getting really confused between the different people. So we have like some of these guys that are in the mob, and then we have some Hollywood producer guys that are corrupt, and then like the police that are, I don't know, they all started looking really similar, and I was getting really confused as to who was actually like good and bad, and which bad guy I was even looking at, and I was just like, what? I just wasn't finding myself intrigued at all. There wasn't a lot happening in here that I really enjoyed. So for my overall enjoyment, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 10. Now, having said that, I did really enjoy the art style in here. I think that it's kind of got like a little bit softer, rounder kind of feel to the art style, which I like that a little bit more than harsher lines and a little bit more boxy. And so I actually really did enjoy the art style quite a bit to this one. I just didn't like the story. So the art, I'm giving a 7 out of 10. And so that gives us an overall of 9 out of 20. So we'll go ahead and put Angel City on our scoreboard here, and things will just start moving around as they move. So next up, we have Basket Full of Heads by Joe Hill. So before I get super into this one, some of this is definitely more gory, so if you're not really comfortable with gore, you might want to like skip ahead some of the pictures. I tried not to show too much of that though, and you may want to skip out on this one if you are not wanting kind of more gruesome pictures going on. This is more of a horror thriller type graphic novel, and I actually did enjoy this one. So in this one, we're following June. So June Branch is in trouble. She's trapped on Brody Island with nowhere to run. Her boyfriend Liam has been kidnapped, and 4 bloodthirsty escaped convicts will stop at nothing to find her. All poor June has to defend herself with is a strange Viking axe with the terrifying power to decapitate a person and leave their head still talking. If she's going to save Liam and herself, June will have to keep a cool head, or even a whole basket full of them. So in this, we're following June, and basically there's like these escaped convicts on this island when she goes to visit her boyfriend. Her boyfriend ends up getting kidnapped by them, and she ends up starting to behead them, and their heads are still talking to her, and she's trying to figure out where he went by using the heads to help her. And I really actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. I found that there was a few different twists and turns within this, and some of the characters were a little bit more questionable that you kind of were liking at first, and then a lot of them actually kind of changed directions on you, and you're just like, oh, well, all right. So I did definitely enjoy this one quite a bit. The ending I was like not expecting, and just I had an overall enjoyment for it. I would say the one thing that I would critique out of this is our main character, June, how she all of a sudden became okay with beheading people and was able to do that, because I'm sure that's not an easy thing to do, but then she just like never really emotionally seemed perturbed or upset by it at all. She just was like, nah, I'm a badass, I got this, whatever. That just seemed a little unlikely, but overall, I enjoyed it. So for enjoyment, 8 out of 10. Art style, not awful, but not my favorite. Gave this one 6 out of 10. With the art style, I did enjoy the fact that when we would go into like memories or the past, it would kind of take on this warmer orangey color. And then when we were in moments that were a little bit darker, it would kind of go more this bluish route. And I definitely could tell the different characters apart. I liked the cover pages. I thought were really interesting and well illustrated, kind of the ones that were full page. I did enjoy some of the art in here. It just wasn't like my favorite type. So that's where we got 6 out of 10 on that. So that's 14 out of 20 total. So we'll go ahead and throw that across here. So we're moving Basket Full of Heads ahead in a couple categories for Angel City, except for the art. Next up, we'll talk about Folklores. So this one's by Matt Kint, and it's illustrated by Matt Smith. So we have a couple of Matts involved with this one. So Folklores is in a world of magic and monsters. Ansel is an outsider haunted by visions of well-pressed suits and modern technology. When it comes time for him to declare his quest, Ansel decides to seek out the mysterious Folklores, hoping they can explain his visions. But looking for the Folklores is strictly forbidden, punishable by death. How much is Ansel willing to risk to find out about the world he has never truly belonged in? So we're following Ansel, and when people in this world turn 18, they choose a quest that they're going to go on, and Ansel wants to find the Folklores. He has questions for them. He's like, I keep having these dreams of people dressed in these suits instead of how everybody else dresses. So Ansel has questions. He's like, why do I keep having dreams where everybody's wearing a suit? They don't dress like us. And why do they show me all these modern technologies for their world that now I can make in this world, but like we don't have those technologies? And so he's wanting to find the Folklores because they're supposed to be very intelligent and kind of know more about this. So we're following him on his quest to do so. This one, there's a couple things that really like kind of bugged me about the story and I didn't totally enjoy. The idea of the quest and the folklores and stuff, interesting. There's like the last page that kind of leads into the next issue. Kind of was like, okay, that's kind of intriguing, but like there's elements to this that just I didn't enjoy. There is a character in here who just goes around and is trying to kiss all of these different men because she's like, oh, it's going to change me into the person I actually am, not this person who's stuck in this ugly body that nobody likes. And I didn't really like that. One, she was forcing herself onto people, and two, that was a mindset that needed to happen at all. I also didn't appreciate, like at the end, one of the other kind of side characters, she helps a lot with the quest and very smart, and just she overall probably does just as much as he does in this quest. And then like the dwarves are singing some song about her and saying that like basically she's like a damsel in distress. They say, did you ever meet the stout young Ansel who saved us all with his sweet damsel? And so they're like just saying that she's like this damsel, and it's just like, no, she kind of did just as much. So I don't know. Unfortunately, I read this after I was reading a different graphic novel that will be coming up that was kind of about feminism, and it really made me critique the heck out of this because I was just like, well, no. So overall enjoyment, I ended up giving this one a 4. It's kind of out of 10. It just, there were some things that irked me that just kind of took it that way. Art style wise, this is kind of that more like harsh, blocky type art style that it's not my favorite. I know it's probably a little bit more of the traditional style. I do like this blue with like these cover pages, beautiful colors. And I like the kind of tree thing going on, and that's probably my favorite part as far as the art style goes. So I gave it a 4 for art style as well, giving it a total of 8 points. So I think overall this one actually ends up on the bottom in most of the categories, except for maybe entertainment. I think Angel City is still on the bottom. Okay, so as I was saying, the League of Super Feminism, or Super Feminist, excuse me, this is written by Miriam Male. Actually, I think she illustrates it as well. So this is the one I read right before Folklores, and I was just like, so then I was in this mindset of seeing some of the things that they're talking about in here and how women are portrayed in media, and that we should really be paying attention to that. And then just gears were going, and then I was just like, and I'm seeing a lot of these things in this book. And so then I just was like, I don't really like that. So, you know, I kind of feel bad for that book that it came after this, but at the same time, like, come on, you gotta give us ladies some credit, right? So this is a really good graphic novel that basically talks about feminism, and it has different categories like romance and friendship and consent and just different stuff that it then talks about within the purview of treating women equally and the same as anyone else in the world. And it was a really good, I feel like, introduction into critically thinking about the way that we perceive and talk about women in society and if it's right or not. I definitely think, as someone that doesn't look into this topic a ton and could learn more about it, this was a good like opening spot to talk about it. So appreciated that. I think this could be great for kind of a younger audience as well that is starting to learn about these things, men and women, because, you know, we can't change the way things are in our society to be better if we aren't looking at it and paying attention and learning more. So the back says, we need to be there for each other, and that means considering all women so that no one is excluded. All we want is real equality and an end to sexism. And that requires tools. Like, for example, the superpower of reading between the lines. And lots of other ones we'll learn about together in this book. Very cute, very fun, little introduction to feminism in just kind of a fun way. So overall, I gave this a 7 out of 10 for enjoyment. And I gave this a 5 out of 10 for the art style, just because it's not like doing anything super crazy. It's just kind of average to me. which is fine. I think it works for the style of this book. It's not like meant for like a super artistic-y type book. And I appreciated too that like all the characters, or not characters, but the people that are drawn within this book are of varying sizes, ethnicities, genders, like everything is just very open in that way. So I definitely appreciated that as well. So I believe that's going to move that one into second place after Basket Full of Heads. And so let's go ahead and move into Maids by Katie Skelly. So in this one, every day is the same until it is not. Leah and Christine are maids. Mornings are for cooking and tidying. Their mistress is strict. Gardening at midday. If they are fired, they will be homeless. A young lady is getting married. Family and religion has failed them. In the evening, they smoke cigarettes and reminisce. On February 2nd, 1933, they will murder everybody in the house. Both a true crime saga and an allegory of societal collapse, Maids finds artist Katie Skelly at her most subversively naturalistic. To observe people serving day in and day out is to become acclimated to the lie that some are born to serve. Everything that is will be forever. We're basically following these two maids and their everyday life serving this family, but we're also kind of watching them reminisce back on they've had some time in a convent before they became maids. We're also looking back on their childhood and their time with their mother, who, you know, may not have been the greatest mother. And we're also seeing a little bit more about their bond as sisters, and they definitely seem very connected. And so they're trying to make things work so that they don't become homeless. And so here they are, maids, and then, you know, they kind of snap. So I enjoyed this book. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. It was kind of just middle of the road for me. It didn't allow me to connect to the characters very much, or the story. It didn't give me anything super extra and more. It was just kind of, it was fun to read for a second, and then it just kind of just was. Don't think it's something that's really going to stick with me. So this one I'm giving a 5 out of 10 for enjoyment. And then the art style, kind of similarly to League of Super Feminist, you know, we've got this kind of just really basic type of art style. It was okay, average, gonna give it 5 out of 10. So that gives us a 10 out of 10 total for this one. And I believe that slides it into overall the third spot. Next up is Lock and Key, Welcome to Lovecraft. This is by Joe Hill and it is illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez. Lock and Key tells of Key House, an unlikely New England mansion with fantastic doors that transform all who dare to walk through them, and home to a hate-filled and relentless creature that will not rest until it forces open the most terrible door of them all. So I actually have watched the TV show, the first season of this, and really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the graphic novel as well. I didn't realize that the TV show was actually based off of a graphic novel. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, let's pick this up. Let's see what it's about. So overall, we are following this family. They move into Key House after the dad in the family ends up getting killed. And so they move back to his family home. And Key House is very unique. There are these keys that they're kind of hidden throughout the house, and the kids start finding them, and they open doors, and the doors are kind of unique and different. So for example, one of the doors, you open it, if you walk through the door, you actually, your body like falls back behind you dead, and you like fly around like a ghost, and then you come back through the door and you go right back into your body. So there's like a lot of different doors doing different things, but that's an example. And then we have this woman in the well house, and she really wants to collect the keys, but one key in particular. And so we're kind of following these 3 kids, basically, who live there, and their mom, and them finding some of the keys and different stuff like that. So overall, I really enjoy the storyline. I think it's really intriguing and interesting to see all these different keys and just have this creepy like lady who's trying to manipulate everybody so she can get to this key. So for overall enjoyment, I gave this one a 7 out of 10. And then we have the art style. And I think that's where, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan. I just feel like, I mean, this one's definitely, again, more of a gruesome, gory type style. Joe Hill kind of seems to have that as far as his graphic novels go. I haven't read any of his novels, but I imagine they're kind of the same. But also just like a lot of the style is that little bit more harsh lines. I don't know. It's just, it's not, there's nothing cute or pretty about it at all, I guess. I know it's not supposed to be, but I really don't like the art style a ton. It's probably one of my least favorite as far as the art style goes, so I gave the art style a 3 out of 10. So that means that it got a total of 10 points, and so this one's going to slide in right under the League of Super Feminists. Moving into Moonstruck. This is Volume 1, Magic to Brew, and it is by Grace Ellis and Shay Beagle. Monsters, romance, and magical hijinks, oh my! In the little college town of Blytheton, fantasy creatures live cozy, normal lives right alongside humans, and werewolf barista Julie strives to be the most normal of all. But all heck breaks loose when she and her new girlfriend Selena go on a disastrous first date that ends with a magician casting a horrible spell on their friend Chet. Now it's up to the team of mythical pals to stop the illicit illusionist before it's too late. So in this, we're following Julie, and she is this barista werewolf, and she kind of meets this new girl, and they are smitten very quickly, and they're going to go out on a second date. And Chet, her friend, ends up kind of third wheeling along. They're going to go see this magic show, but something goes awry, and Chet becomes a part of this evil spell that basically is cast during this, and they're trying to reverse what happened. The premise of this sounds so cute. I really enjoyed the kind of world that is built here where everybody just kind of lives in unison, and there's magical creatures, there's normal humans, there's like just very fun. Loved that piece of it. I liked the idea of having kind of this cute romance happening, as well as kind of a more fantastical plot line where we're trying to figure out a way to reverse this spell and get back at this magician. The execution, I didn't like as much. I really wanted the romance to be a little bit more of a romance. I felt like the entire time the two of them were just arguing and not getting along, and I was just like, there's no redeeming pieces in between. Yeah, sure, you're in a stressful situation. Like, you're gonna get in an argument, maybe, but like, then I need something to redeem that. So I understand that they are in these stressful situations and maybe they're going to argue and not totally get along the entire time, but then I need some redemption in between in which like I actually can feel that and see that love, and I just didn't. And then, I don't know, the rest of it just didn't fall into place. There was just something that didn't work for me with the plot. I just felt like it, I don't know, I was really disappointed that this didn't work out because I adore the art style. Like, this little happy bubbly looking art style is just so stinking cute, and I just adored it. I thought it was super fun, and the art style is definitely up my alley. It's got some fun witchy vibes, and so I'm kind of just bummed that I didn't enjoy the storyline. So, entertainment, enjoyment wise, 5 out of 10, but art style, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So that's 13 out of 20. So this one does fall a little bit higher up. I believe it is now just below Basketful of Heads. Ooh, we're on the last one. Here we go. So, Snow Glass Apples by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Colleen Doran. Oh my goodness, I love this one. A not-so-evil queen is terrified of her monstrous stepdaughter and determined to repel this creature and save her kingdom from a world where happy endings aren't so happily ever after. And I will, again, warn, this one is adult. And not necessarily in a kind of gory, gruesome way, but there are some more sexual scenes in here, and they are a little more adult explicit. So, forewarning, adult book here. This is the most beautiful graphic novel ever, but I also enjoyed the storyline so much in this one. So we have a Snow White retelling in which the evil queen isn't so evil, and Snow White is. And the entire time, I just was like, I couldn't wrap my head around the idea of it. I was like, but really, she's going to turn evil in a minute, right? Or like, Snow White's like really just like, she's not evil, she's just misunderstood, or like, right? Right. I just really wanted that to be in my head because that's the way it is, but no. It was definitely the opposite in here, and it was very intriguing and interesting the way the story kind of unfolded and just different. But the art style of this is so beautiful, and I think it made the story so much better. I just remember thinking throughout it, like, it was amazing how they kind of used these word blocks and just kind of flowed through the art somehow, and just like, it just all flowed together so well. The story was beautifully told, and I can remember like so much of it, and this was one of the first ones that I read, and it just was beautiful, and oh my gosh, the experience of it was just wonderful. Like, see this beautiful, beautiful art. It is gorgeous. And then like this page, it literally just like has these little blocks, but when you're actually reading it, it kind of flows through all these different little pieces of the picture to kind of come together and just work together. I don't know. It's just incredible how they did that. I don't know. It just is beautiful, and I loved it. And I want more graphic novels with this art style where it's all just kind of connected together, but it also is telling you so many different pictures just combined in there. And I don't even know how to explain that, but gorgeous art. Loved the retelling. It was something unique and different. It just took some turns that I wasn't expecting. It was 10 on both. I really enjoyed it for the enjoyment factor, and I also really loved the art style, so both get a 10. This is a 20 out of 20. It's going to be number one across all categories. I will put up the final rankings for you guys. We've got enjoyment, art style, and overall, and so you guys can take a peek at that and see what I thought of all 8 of these. I really enjoyed being able to do this. If you guys enjoyed it too, maybe I can try this again and grab a whole bunch more from my library, and we'll try this again. But it's kind of a fun little experiment for me to just kind of check all of these different things out and show you guys some of these graphic novels and the art style they have and just talk about them. I really had fun. I hope you guys did too. Let me know down below, and I would love more graphic novel recommendations from you guys as well. So definitely throw those down there as well. Talk to you guys soon.